We are live with Mike Carson for another Founder Wisdom Pod. Mike's a cool guy. He's the founder of Spaces protocol. It's a decentralized naming system built on Bitcoin that empowers users with controlled privacy over their online identity. Prior to founding Spaces, Mike founded and successfully exited Part.io, domain name back ordering services, and co-founding Live, which drew 10 million revenue before being acquired by a private equity firm, amongst other things. So this is going to be pretty fun. This podcast presented to you by my AI outreach company. It's called clayleads.com. If you want to develop cold email AI companies with my help, you can go to clayleads.com. Mike, welcome to the podcast. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Thanks for having me on your show. I'm a programmer, introverted guy. Actually, I have my domain is my email is mike@introvert.com. If anybody wants to get in touch, I've just mostly been into programming. But I never really, fit in with the standard, like with my peers, really, with how they did their career path. It just didn't really, I was really uncomfortable with it and I never fit in. But luckily I found this like entrepreneurship thing you can do where you can start your own stuff. And so it really connected with how I like to launch coding projects like websites and stuff. And so luckily I was able to do that, and I founded a couple companies and they did pretty well. I started a bunch of other things that didn't do well, but luckily with this, it's like low risk. You can start with very little, and if it doesn't work out, you can like throw it away and start again. And now I've been working on, I'm working on this project that's built on Bitcoin. It's a new protocol for decentralized naming and user IDs that's on Bitcoin. I'm also trying to bring back Friendster. So those are the two things I'm working on now.
Love it. Let's double click on a couple of things. So yeah, you and I, we shared your current project, right? Like Bitcoin and domains. These are two of my passion. Bitcoin's been growing on me. It's not like if I was a Bitcoin maximalist, but yeah, definitely 15% of my clients nowadays are in the crypto space, and I love any technology that is favoring libertarianism. So yeah, we'll double click on that. But first, your love for domains. Where did that started? Are you like a domain collector? Domains are intimately related to the internet for sure, but where did that started for you?
I mean, it just started because in order to launch a project, you needed a domain. And I realized that the stronger domain you had, the more power you had to release, like the more impact it had on people if you launched with a strong name. And so that led me to look into, the whole domain system. And I realized that there's expiring domains expire. And there was actually some very valuable, really good domains that expired. And then I looked into the system, like to find out the exact second that they would become available. And it led to me writing scripts to try to get these domains the second they become available. And that led to me launching Park.io, which is a domain. It was a domain drop catching service. And through that, I managed 3 ICANN accredited registrars, worked with a lot of different registries like .ai, registry.io, and really got into domain names. And at the same time, I also love Bitcoin. I thought it was a revolutionary invention. And so I realized that like domain names, there's no reason to be centralized. They should not be centralized. You should be able to own it without any like people in between you and your name, because it's a digital asset. So that led me to explore all these other things like ENS, Handshake, other like Namecoin, other solutions that were built like on that. But A lot of them have issues, so we decided to create our own on Bitcoin, and so that's why we created the Spaces protocol.
So were you early on Bitcoin, and are you most bullish on Bitcoin in the full crypto scheme of things?
I mean, I've been in Bitcoin since 2013. I love it. Yeah, I definitely think Bitcoin is number one to me. I mean, it's number one. It's definitely by far the biggest proof of work blockchain, the most secure. I mean, that's why we built Spaces on it. And yeah, I think it's, in my opinion, and I don't know all the other things that are out there, but in my opinion, it's the only one that really interests me.
Right. Well, okay. So, how will you revolutionize the domain space with the spaces protocol? Like, I'm paying Namecheap $8 a year per .com. I have hundreds of them as a cold emailer and the guy that loves to start new projects, right, and get ownership on things. It's a signal. It's better than just having it in my mind or written as a goal. Right now, I have the domain. I need to do something with it. It's micro financial accountability. So I'm paying $8 a year to Namecheap. First, does that money go to, and how would Spaces be different from that?
Yeah, right now your names are on Namecheap. So just so you're aware, there's a lot of people who have control over your name. There's Namecheap itself. There's a lot of employees at Namecheap. There's the registry. So Namecheap is the registrar. There's the registry. So whatever registry you have, like if you're doing .com, then like VeriSign, uh, is the registry operator. Employees of that have access to it. ICANN has access to it, like government officials. So basically, like you can't really trust, like it's, I mean, basically you are trusting all these people that they will allow you to use it, or that the information that you use it for will not be taken down or anything like that. So there's a lot of trust involved in that. Even like certificates, like encrypting traffic to your domains, you have to get a third party certificate authority. You have to trust them, and they give you a key to encrypt your traffic. And so it's all trusted. And so Spaces, it would be completely different. You would own it. You would be the only person who have access to your name, or whoever has the keys to it, just like Bitcoin. It's similar to Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin's, with money, the bank, you have to go to your bank and say, please, can I use my money, please? And they'll be like, no, you got to make an appointment or come back in a week. We got to get approval. And then it's like, like the government's like, please don't inflate it. Please don't inflate the money. Don't print a lot. Please don't print a lot of extra money. And so Bitcoin takes all these middlemen out of the way, and allows you to own your money. Like nobody else except the person who has the keys owns the money. And that's the same thing we're doing with domains. Like you should just be able to own the domains. Why is there all these other people who, and why do you have to ask permission or like do all these things with your domain? So we're making it so you own it.
Right. Well, I guess the counter argument to that is that you rarely run into problems with the bank, for example, and the domains, right? Like these scenarios rarely happen. But I get what you're saying. Me, I guess, as a business owner, where I ran in problem in my financial infrastructure stack was with Stripe, for example, when clients would charge me back in my early days as an entrepreneur, really hurt my business. And what could I do about it? Like literally, these people were fraudsters that would pay me for a service. They would use my service and then they would charge it back. Next thing I knew, because this chargeback rate reached more than 1%, one client out of 100, Stripe banned me, right? It's like, okay, we're holding off your money just in case, right, for 3 months. And that was really frustrating. But yeah, let just like to rabbit hole on the .com and domain acquisition thing. I'm reading here that it's VeriSign that owns the .coms, right? Like, and yeah, they charge 7.8 $85, so almost $8 per domains. And yeah, like I mean, they don't have much cost on that. Are they a gold mine? Is that like a monopoly or something?
Yeah, yes, pretty much, yeah. But I mean, going back to your point about like it doesn't really affect us, I think a lot of people can, yeah, use that same argument with Bitcoin. They're like, it's fine, money's fine, my bank's fine, getting it in my bank. But when you go to like other, countries where there's runs on the bank, or if you're in a situation where like, for example, they're donating money to the truckers who are protesting in Canada, and then they just confiscate they just take all the money and put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's this, once it hits you, like there's people like Twitter accounts, like, I mean, even like, Donald Trump's account was taken away from him. So, his name on that was, his username was taken away from him. And like that, he's not alone. And there's lots of other people, like, for example, the user music on Twitter was taken away just because, Twitter wanted to use it for something else.
Yeah.
And that's just username. I mean, a lot of people on Instagram, Facebook, people posting stuff were taking down, doctors were taking down for the COVID stuff. I don't know, all that stuff. And then also, I mean, domain names itself, there's people like there was a Squarespace hack just recently where all these crypto companies were hacked and their domains were redirected, and people lost a lot of money from that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah,
they
it's
had,
pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump being banned, I think that was good for the whole world. That's my humble opinion. But like, yeah, all jokes aside, or just was semi-serious. I think when you sign up for one of these platforms, it's not yours. It's theirs. That's why it's free. I think people should know that. But yeah, you're right with the domains. Historically, we've seen a lot of companies being plugged out of the internet with their domains, right? Some of them, yeah, were engaging in criminal conducts. We're not talking about ethics here, but yeah, so the government or the company can pull the plug anytime they want if they're not in agreement with what you're doing out there, right?
yeah, I mean, and yeah, it's a couple problems. It's censorship,
Yeah.
like for example, .cat, the Catalonia, the Spanish government raided the offices of the .cat top level domain, and they shut down a bunch of domains because they were posting things that were against the Spanish government. So there's censorship, and then there's also security, like with the Squarespace stuff. Like, why do all those people, the people who own those domains, have to trust Squarespace? Because they shouldn't have trusted Squarespace, because Squarespace had security issues. Like, why can't why do they have to rely on other people for the security? Like, you should be able to do it yourself.
Right. Yeah, fully in agreement with that. Not for censorship, but I think most humans nowadays, they are completely oblivious on how to defend themselves intellectually and against disinformation, and the government isn't teaching that. And because of that, populists and people spreading conspiracy theories get a very strong and very high spot on the stage, which is pretty bad for civilizations and society. I think that these social medias, they're echo chambers, right? So as soon as you like one Trump post, or even see it, not even like it, right? Or just check the bullshit that this man is posting, you're gonna see it all over your feed. And with X, for example, same with Elon. Elon, I clicked probably like 10 times. I don't want to see this post, although I like Elon, right? And it's still popping over my feed always. Elon always first. So I think that's a dangerous thing with these algorithms. And the users don't have a view over these algorithms. They're all internal, and even engineers at Twitter don't understand how they work. So what would you say to that argument?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like if you look at Jack Dorsey, what he says, he's one of the founders of Twitter, and he's gotten really into Bitcoin, and now he's really into Nostr. He's like,
Yeah.
it needs to be decentralized. Like, all that social media should be decentralized,
Yeah,
because
blue sky.
Yeah, because he, like once Twitter went public, it was controlled by the advertisers, and he had to do things like he had to make decisions that would be best for the advertisers and
Yeah,
not for the world and stuff. So, yeah,
which is pretty bad.
so I think decentralized things will become more popular and are useful for that type of stuff, like Noster.
Noster. Talking about social media, right? Like you want to relaunch Friendster. So I studied probably Napster more in depth, but I'm wiki reading the page right now, and seems that it had much competition from Windows Live Space, Yahoo, and Facebook. Sort of killed it. I think it's Sean Parker, right? Was it? No, that was
No.
Napster. Um, anyway, tell us about Napster itself and why you're seeking to revive it in this day and age.
Friendster, yeah, Friendster. Well,
Friendster.
Friendster was the first social media website, and it was like back when the internet was different. It was a different internet back then, where people, connecting. There weren't the advertisers didn't run it. Like it was, it wasn't manipulating you to click, like clickbaiting. Like there weren't algorithms to make you like addicted to it and to make you more depressed and anxious. And it was kind of like a better time in some ways. And so I thought it would be good to relaunch Friendster and try to bring back, like I read a study that like people would pay money to stop using social media. Like they would pay money to stop using it, but the reason they don't just stop for free is because they're afraid of missing out on like what other people are posting. So I thought there could be a better different, like I would kind of want to bring it back to how things were, but also I would like to add some of this decentralized stuff to it. So that's my plan.
Right. Yeah, it's quite sad that people think they're missing out. Yesterday I was reflecting on that on my Twitter with the news media cycle. Um, yeah, like basically you're not missing anything out if you turn off the news, right? That I'm not sure if people know that. My parents certainly don't. They're always watching the news, but yeah, if you live in your own world and you have sovereignty over your life, right, and your actions and your plan, and you build your own little world, I don't think like news matter much. I mean, I use them in a context to write code, email AI nowadays, like take these news and then write something according to that. But even that, and then yeah, the echo chamber stuff I think is very depressing to people when they're always seeing the same things pop up over their news feed, and then there's cyberbullying as well. There's comparison, right? Like people always show us their best selves on social media, but in real life, it's a totally different game.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, how is Friendster different from that? Like, was it the UX? Tell us, like, was it the algorithm that was not that way? Like, how was it so different from Facebook?
Well, I think Friendster was more about connecting and making friends, and Friendster didn't have this feed. Facebook introduced the feed, and people people liked it, but it also, it kind of opened a can of worms where, it becomes more of a kind of a toxic place. It also allows advertisers to like manipulate you, so I think so. Friendster's not going to have the feed. We're not going to have a feed like that. So we're kind of bringing it back to before, the old way it was, where it's more about connecting and making friends and connecting with old friends and stuff.
How are you gonna monetize?
Not completely sure yet, but yeah, I don't know. We're thinking of
Just
different.
say selling user data
No, it will not be selling user data. That's definitely. I have that
on the
on.
black market.
I have that on the front page. It's like no selling of user data. That's definitely a main goal. I mean, there could still be advertisers, but they wouldn't have control like they do on other things. And but it also might be like a freemium thing where people pay for membership or something like that. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet.
Love it. What are your top goals for this year? And you mentioned reviving Friendsters. Like, how do you separate your days in terms of all the activities you're involved in?
Yeah, I don't. My goals right now, I'm focusing on the Spaces protocol. I would really like to do that, and I mean, some things like this is what I learned from launching a lot of different projects. It's like some things the universe doesn't want you to launch. It's not gonna like it's you're kind of fighting against the universe, it feels like, and other things the universe does everything it can to help you like make it happen. And the Spaces protocol, the universe is definitely like doing whatever it can to help. So I'm just going to like keep doing my part to try to help it come about. So I think that, I think that's a good thing. Like when you're doing when you're doing startups and stuff like that, it's like or anything in life, really, if you're constantly fighting against something and it seems like, I mean, it might be time to like drop it and move on to something else and like find the thing that, so anyway, I'm working on Spaces protocol and Friendster. Those are my main things this year.
Yeah, universe, I'd say like if your skill set, if the activity is ikigai, right? If you're good at it, if you can make money from it, if there's people wanting it, and so forth. And yeah, if there's product market fit, I guess, if there's people buying your stuff and give you positive feedback, like would that help get in that flow state and obstacle free type of progressing when you're building new startups?
Yeah. I mean, definitely with Park.io, it was more like that. It's like the day I launched, people started paying me and like ordering things, and it's like, whoa, it was completely different than other projects. Like there's definite, and it never stopped. And so that was like clear. It was like clear that was different. With Spaces protocol, it's different. We're not making money yet and stuff, but it's more like, really smart people want to work on it. So like we have a team of like super smart people because it's like, cutting edge, like, it's like really, we're inventing something new. So like really smart people are working on it. Also like smart people, when we tell them about it, they're really excited about it and they see the benefits of it. And also just like with like raising money and stuff, it's a lot easier. So yeah, it's different, but like there's definitely signs.
Love it. Where can people find out more about you, Mike?
Well, you can see the Spaces protocol at spacesprotocol.org. You can find me on X. If you go to cypherpunk.com, it redirects there, cypherpunk.com. And yeah, if you want to contact me, Mike@introvert.com.
Love it. That was Mike Carson and Charles Cormier for